Did you know that in addition to the US presidential election, the world's largest political and economic union and second largest democratic electorate will also be holding a crucial election in 2024? That's right. From June 6th to 9th, EU citizens will be voting to elect the members of the next European Parliament to determine the direction of the EU for the next 5 years. As the only directly elected European Union institution holding major legislative and budgetary powers, the European Parliament is an instrumental part of the EU. You may be wondering, why is the European Parliament election relevant to the United States? While Brussels and Washington, D.C. are 3,866 miles apart, they are closely interconnected based on shared history, common values, and mutual interests. Since 1949, the United States and Europe have partnered to form the most comprehensive and dynamic alliance in the world. Let's dive deeper into a few examples of how the European Parliament has bolstered the transatlantic partnership. Our first topic is military cooperation and international aid. The United States and the European Union have been the two strongest and most steadfast supporters of Ukraine. Both allies have pledged to back Ukraine for as long as it takes, following Russia's unprovoked war of aggression. The European Union and its member states are collectively the largest source of aid. And as of April 2024, the EU has made $106 billion of financial, military, humanitarian, and refugee assistance available to Ukraine. In addition, in February 2024, European leaders agreed to commit up to $54 billion for a new Ukraine facility to support its recovery, reconstruction, and modernization. In April 2021, European Parliament President Roberta Metsola traveled to Kyiv as the first EU leader to visit Ukraine after the war broke out. During her visit, she addressed the Rada and met with Ukrainian President Zelensky to assure them that Ukraine has the unwavering support of the European Parliament. Since then, EU legislators have voted to suspend EU import duties on Ukrainian exports, such as agricultural products, adopted a plan to increase EU production of ammunition and missiles to address Ukraine's needs, and have advocated and strongly influenced the EU's decision to open EU membership talks with Ukraine. Now, let's take a look at strategic relations with China. The European Parliament has backed the European Union's stance on China as a partner for cooperation, an economic competitor, and a systemic rival. In December 2023, the European Parliament voted to pass the EU-China Relations Report. The report strongly recommends for the EU to react boldly to an assertive China. While acknowledging shared global responsibilities on climate, the European Parliament emphasized the importance of maintaining one China policy and balancing that position to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, de-risk trade flows to China, and urged the EU to confront China on its human rights abuses. Our third deep dive is trade. The EU and the US share the world's most robust trade partnership. The US and the EU are each other's overall largest trade and investment partner, at an estimated $1.3 trillion. Bilateral trade and investment support millions of jobs on both sides of the Atlantic, with approximately 25 million people that are directly and indirectly employed. In 2021, the EU and the US launched the Trade and Technology Council, with the goal to promote American and European competitiveness by increasing transatlantic trade and investment in products and services of emerging technology, as well as further deepening trade and economic relations. The European Parliament plays a decisive role in defining the EU's trade and technology policy. European trade legislation and international trade agreements can only be implemented with the agreement of the European Parliament. As you can see from these examples, the US has many common interests in areas where it works together with the EU. In fact, twice a year, members of the US House of Representatives meet with the European Parliament to hold a transatlantic legislators dialogue, where legislators from both sides of the Atlantic affirm their commitment to this critical partnership and discuss ways to further these shared interests. While the European Parliament represents and works for European citizens, its decisions, such as on climate, trade, AI, and privacy, can impact citizens globally, and especially in the United States. Although the European Parliament election may be held an ocean away, the ripple effect will be felt across the Atlantic. As we experience this pivotal election year during an era of unprecedented geopolitical tension and the rise of authoritarianism, the continuation of transatlantic cooperation is more important than ever. To learn more about the European Parliament and the election, you can visit www.europarl.europa.eu.